name's Tony. Welcome to Leith. Let me show you something. How are you? Hope you're happy, healthy and well today. A little bit of history video for you today. Now, Leith is brilliant. Leith is beautiful. It's not the sunniest of day to day, but look how calm that water is there. But Scotland's history was shaped in many ways by Leith. Now, everyone thinks of Glasgow as a shipping dockyard kind of city. You know, that the city built up around the Clyde in Glasgow. But in truth, it's actually very young, really, comparatively. For a long time here, the docks here at Leith was where everything came into Scotland. Everything. Any sort of imports came in here. In fact, round the corner there's the old imports and excise building. I think that I'm saying that right. Which actually my wife's grandfather used to work at. But it's not just for the things coming in. Two historical royals entered Scotland here at the shore of Leith that shaped the Scotland that we know today, and there's two plaques commemorating them, so I wanted to find them both for you to show you them, so if you're coming down you can point them out to your friends. I know where one is, I don't know where the other is, and it's the other I want to show you first, so let's go find it. Oh, by the way, not on my own today, I'm here with a wee man. So for our first plaque, I'm heading up towards Mimi's Bakehouse, really. I think it should be on a wall on our left-hand side here somewhere. I thought it was going to be a plaque on the wall, but I've got a funny feeling it might be a plaque on the ground. And I was right, I found it. So, first off, think of the most famous Scot that you know, besides a Mel Gibson movie. And besides me, obviously. The most famous Scot you know. Mary Queen of Scots. Yeah? Most of you thinking Mary Queen of Scots. Now, she's a busy lass. She's a very busy lass. Even now in death. I mean, apparently she haunts at least 6 different places. And amongst them include... So that's a lot. And in her life, of which not a lot of it was spent here in Scotland, truthfully. There's a lot of places in Scotland say Mary Queen of Scots was here, Mary Queen of Scots was here. But what is true is where she landed in Scotland after coming back from France. Now, in case you don't know the history, she became queen really young, an infant. And then she was sent to France for her own protection. She went to France. She got married over there. She had no intention of coming back here. But then her husband died and she decided to come back and claim the crown, which was rightfully hers. And she arrived here in Leith. Now, I'm guessing that bridge there wasn't there at the time. And it's a big historic thing. The story of Mary Queen of Scots and what came from her shaped Scotland in many ways. Obviously, we still talk about her now. And Mary Queen of Scots, she landed here, and although she was imprisoned by Queen Elizabeth the First, who was King Henry VIII's daughter, see, these are big names, all linked together. She did have a son. Her son, King James VI of Scotland, then went on to become King James I of England. Her son united the crowns of Scotland and England into one crown, which directly led to the royal family we have today. And the royal family we have today are direct descendants from Mary Queen of Scots. A lot of history there, all in one little bit, but it's important, and she really made an impact. Yes, my son is very excited by all this, aren't you? Did you eat a biscuit? Yeah. But it's a big moment. It's a big moment for Mary Queen of Scots to be here and arrive here in Scotland. You'd think we'd have something grand? You'd be wrong. And here we are. The shore of Leith. Where is the plaque? Here it is. This plaque commemorates the landing in Leith of Mary Stuart, Queen of Scots, upon her return from France on the 19th of August 1561, placed here by the Mary Stuart Society in the year the Golden Jubilee of Her Majesty the Queen in 2002. Like, that's it. That's it. This is a prominent figure in Scottish history, and this is where she arrived in Scotland after being away for 16, 17 years. I'm not sure what age she came back to Scotland. But that was it. That's it. That's all she gets at the point of where she arrived back here in Scotland. And apparently, when she docked here, she came off and then went back on, because there was no fanfare, there was no big, oh, she's back here, the Queen, she's back in Scotland, we must party for the Queen. No, there was none of that. She never got that. So she said, right, well, there's no procession, there's no royal procession, I'm going back on and organise something. So apparently she went back on and waited till something was organised. However, I have read that that probably didn't happen. She probably came off and went into that pub right there, which would have been an inn, and waited there until something was organised. Either way, she did wait until a proper procession was put together, and then she went up Leith Walk, which wouldn't have been very much at the time, up to Edinburgh, because this wasn't Edinburgh. This wasn't Edinburgh. You have to remember that this has only been Edinburgh, part of Edinburgh, for just over 100 years. And even then that's controversial, because there was a vote of the people of Leith to join Edinburgh. They said no, and it was put as part of Edinburgh anyway. Just shows referendums are only for opinions, they're not legally binding. Just saying. But yeah, so a big important thing, not so much. The important moment, not an important plaque. Okay, for historical plaque number 2, we need to cross the road down there. So let's go. So, for our second historical moment in Scottish history, here in Leith, again, of which there are many, at least the plaque this time is on the wall. Now, we're going a little bit more modern. Kinda. We're in at least the 1800s now, so just a couple of hundred, 250 odd, almost 300 years ago. Yeah, I'm looking at the date. Yeah, 1890, yeah, 300 years ago, just over 300 years ago. So this time we're talking about a king that you probably don't know as much about, King George IV. Now, he was invited to Scotland by Sir Walter Scott. Now, Sir Walter Scott is, he is so important in Scottish history, and you don't think of it, but he created the Scotland we know today. He did that. Truthfully, if we break it down, it's worth a long, probably series of videos on its own, just the history of Sir Walter Scott. But he invited King George IV here to Scotland, and that was in 1822. A king, a reigning monarch, had not visited Scotland since the mid-1600s. Now just think about that, and in this day and age as well, if you compare that, can you imagine if a ruling royal had not visited somewhere that they preside over for 200 years? Can you, and considering it's like 500 miles down the road, it's not that bad. You could take a boat and do it fairly quickly, come up and arrive here at Leith, which is obviously what they finally did. But Walter Scott invited King George IV here to Scotland. Now, when he did, it sparked a lot of change and sparked a kind of almost a fashion in Scotland, really, as in down south. It brought Scotland a bit more into the forefront of what it marked. It also brought back with the wearing of the kilt and tartan into a far more big thing. Again, it's a big story on its own, and I'm not going to go into it all now, but it's worth reading up if you ever look at it. And the kilt that we know today, what we know as traditional wear today, kind of was born out of that moment there when King George IV was invited back to Scotland. So it is a big moment in Scottish history that you probably have never heard of, and I bet you a lot of Scots people have never heard of it as well. But it is marked by a plaque right here, right behind me. Let me show you where it is. So the last plaque was over there. We've crossed the road here over Commercial Street. There's that restaurant-y thing right there, and we're right beside the Ship on the Shore pub there, and here is the plaque. King's Landing. Opposite this spot, King George IV landed on the 15th of August 1822. August again, it was August for Mary Queen of Scots as well. An historic visit arranged mainly by Sir Walter Scott for the bicentenary of whose birth this plaque was erected. So both of these plaques, in a funny way, yes, both of these plaques mark major historic moments that again shaped Scotland and the Scotland we know today. Not just Edinburgh, not just Leith, Scotland as a whole. These two plaques, which rusted and ignored on the ground, hardly even seen, are two major moments in Scottish history that, like I said, created the Scotland that you know and hopefully love today. So, oh pal, he just threw his food away. So, next time you're down this way, down in Leith, please take a little walk. Go visit those 2 points, and if you're with anyone and you want to share a little bit of your growing knowledge and history about Scotland, go show them those 2 points. They're ignored, but they're important. And if you ever have a chance, look up how these 2 people, King George IV, after his visit to Scotland with Sir Walter Scott, and Mary Queen of Scots, impacted Scotland, and in many ways impacted the world we know today. And they're walked past every day. No one else might read them for another however long. But you will now. Till next time. Bye, humans.